this is an exercise of identifying key resources for you. So we're all going to be different as far as, you know, what's going on with us and what things are going to be helpful. So this is one little exercise that you can work with that will sort of personalize the experience for you and allow you to have an exercise to assist you in creating resources for resilience that are going to be helpful for you as an individual. Okay, so first thing that I want you to do is think of a challenge that you're facing right now and write that down. So this is the kind of the thing that you want to work with. Okay. The next step is consider the needs that are at stake. So this is identifying the need that is related to or feels threatened by or isn't being fulfilled by this experience or this situation or the, you know, emotion, what the emotion is related to. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples to try to help you. Okay. So, and these are just examples that he gives from the book. Okay. So if your situation or your challenge has to do with pain, feeling threatened, or a sense of lack of movement or paralysis, okay, and moving forward, or if you have emotions like anxiety, anger, or feeling powerless, okay, those would all be related to the need of safety, okay. If your challenge situation has to do with things like experiencing a block in reaching a goal that you would like to achieve, or failure of some sort, or lacking pleasure in life, or with feelings of disappointment or frustration or being bored, then that has to do with the need of satisfaction. If the challenge has to do with an interpersonal conflict or a rejection or a loss or devaluation, okay, not feeling valuable, or loneliness, hurt, resentment, and feelings of inadequacy or shame, those all have to do with the need of connection. Okay, so next to your challenge, you should have written down either safety, satisfaction, or connection. Does everybody have that? Okay, so then we get to identify the resource. Okay, so look at whether you wrote down safety, satisfaction, or connection. And then I'm going to read options for each of those categories. And I would suggest that you pick the one that jumps out at you the most. Like any of these things that I list in the categories will work for safety. Any of the things listed for satisfaction will work, regardless of the situation, right? Because we're working with the need. And that's what you're going to work with. Okay, so if you wrote down safety, then these would be the options. I'll read them twice. Being on your own side, determination, grit, sense of agency, feeling protected, clarity about threats, feeling all right, calm, relaxation, and peace. If you wrote down satisfaction, then these would be the words that you would pick one. Okay? Gratitude, gladness, pleasure, accomplishment, clarity about goals, enthusiasm, passion, motivation, aspiration, feeling of being enough already, contentment. And then the last one, if you wrote down connection, compassion for others and oneself, empathy, kindness, self-worth, skillful assertiveness, forgiveness, generosity, love. Okay, so if you had a bunch of categories, like you had one, all three of them, you might just decide to work with love, because that catches everything. That covers all of the bases. So then I'm going to read just these 4 other suggestions that he has to sort of clarify what resource might be the best for you. These are questions that he suggests that you can ask yourself. Okay, so you can see how that fits with your list that you have there. So what, if it were more present in my mind these days, would be very helpful? So you might think of a different word. Okay, so what, if it were more present in my mind days, would be really helpful to me? What inner strengths could help me stay in the responsive mode when I'm dealing with this particular challenge? What inner strength would help me stay in the responsive mode when dealing with this particular challenge? If the challenge was in the past, if it began in the past, what would have been really helpful to have experienced back then? Okay, so if it's a past challenge that you're looking to heal, what would have been really helpful to have experienced back then? Or deep down, what experience do I still long for? What experience do I still long for? All right, so look at your list here. And then what you're going to want to do is remember the resource that you wrote down. So that was the last thing. And then remember the challenge, because that's what we're going to link this with. Okay, so we're going to generate the positive experience. We're going to enrich that. We're going to absorb that. And then we're going to hold that, and we're going to link it with the challenge. Does that make sense, what we're going to be doing? Okay, so close your eyes and I'll walk you through it. So take a few deep breaths. And now call up a sense of this positive resource that you're working with, to begin to create an experience of this positive material in your mind. So, with your positive resource, you could remember when you really experienced it in the past. You could recall a time that you felt that way. Or you can imagine being in a or in a relationship that would naturally evoke this experience. Or you can just access the experience directly, dropping into how it feels in your body, using any way that works for you to have a clear experience of this positive resource. And now we're going to enrich this positive resource by staying with it. So if your mind wanders, just bring your attention back to this positive resource. Help it to become more intense or expanded by allowing it to fill up your awareness, making the experience large in your mind. And then explore the experience, sensing it in your body, opening to all its emotional aspects of this. And recognize how it is important to you, how it is valuable to you, how this resource helps you. And integrate this resource by absorbing it into your body. Have the intention, sense that the experience is sinking into you, sifting down into you and becoming a part of you. You are this experience. Receive it. Receive it into yourself like a gentle warmth spreading inside. And now recognize what feels good about it. What seems wholesome and enjoyable? What do you enjoy about this experience? Now, staying with this, allowing this positive resource to fill every part of you, for you to embody this resource, holding positive material, large and rich, in the front of your awareness, gently become aware of the challenging material just off to the side in the periphery. Just mentally aware of it while you're holding the feeling of this positive resource. And you might find that your attention moves quickly back and forth between the positive experience and the challenge. That's okay. See if you can hold both of them in your awareness at the same time. Feeling in your body the experience of the positive resource as you're mentally aware of the challenge. And so you might just stay here if this feels like enough. If you want to move a little bit further, as long as it's not overwhelming, as you are holding the feeling of the positive resource in your body fully, you can allow a little bit of the feeling of the challenge to arise off to the side, much smaller and less powerful than the positive resource. Just exploring what this feels like for a few breaths and resting in the positive, taking refuge in a strong sense of the positive resource where there's also a little feeling of the negative background of your awareness. And so you might just stay here, or you might back up a little bit if that feels intense. If you want to go a little bit further, if it feels right to you, you can imagine that the positive resource is touching and going into the negative or the challenging situation. Perhaps the positive resource is like waves spreading out into the sore, empty places. Or like reassurance and comfort and kindness are soothing the challenge. Or that there is a light that is spreading into the shadows. You might have a sense that the positive resource, the positive feeling is being received into the challenge, slipping into it, and maybe gently dislodging it, releasing it from mind. Try not to think about it. Try not to go into a story about it. Just have the sense that this is happening. Have the experience of it without a story. Always reestablishing the feeling of the positive resource. And finally, let go of anything negative, any challenging feelings, and just rest in the positive material. Enjoy what it feels like. Allowing that positive feeling to fill you up. And then take a few deep breaths. Coming back to the body, back to the room, and your eyes. The point again of everything that we're doing with exploring the book is to build personal resilience and personal resources. And this is one that's going to be really specific for you. Okay, so to help you sort of identify what's helpful for you to build positive psychological resources to help you build resilience. And the way that we do that is by repeating the same experience over and over and over and integrating that into our mind. Okay, that's what rewires it. So by going through the same process over and over and over again, you're reinforcing that so that it becomes a positive resource for you. Okay, so that will be the homework for this week.